So, as I mentioned, I'll do a video this morning of my process from receiving what you sent back, and I'll go through and add in any information that I believe needs to be added to the takeoff, and also complete the scope of works document, so you can see what we're looking for when if I was doing the takeoff and putting the quote together. So start off by adding the drawings in the ground plan, which you've already done, and identifying what drawings go where. So you've done all of that for me, which is great. I'd just be in my normal process going through. Here's our list of drawings that we're going to be putting onto our scope of works. It was 001, sorry, so 001, 010. Ground floor, no. 300B, I'll just double check it. I probably should put it on there as well anyway. C. 400, I'll put 401 on it as well. And I'll check these two schematics. I won't use the main switchboard schematic because it's all electrical. It's not relevant to security. I'll just check these two switchboard schematics to see if there's anything relevant to us. Doesn't look like they're here, so I'll just I just need to make sure we're getting this information in ground plan as well. So I didn't see it there, so I'll just make sure. Broadband communications, I mean, this is relevant to us, so I'll make sure that drawing comes in. I'll drag that in here. That's on page 10. I'll bring in 11 as well. So I just need to make sure that all those drawings are coming in as previously discussed. It means that we've got them there if we need to reference them. So rather than filtering out any drawings, just make sure they all stay in there. So even though they might not be relevant, or you might not feel they're relevant, just leave them in there, please. So back onto here. This EL601 is what we're looking for. So that's the last drawing in here. And now that's all the drawings that are relevant to what we're doing. Once it's done, you can take the highlight off. Grab this other information quickly. So tender issue is correct, 3rd of the 5th, 21, and you've got the job number there, which is all spot on. So tender issue is right. We can take the brackets off and take the highlight off it. Your date is correct, so once you've got it, the brackets off it, take the highlight off it, and same here. And double check that specification. Last revised 4th of May, so you've got that, so that's great, thank you. Once again, take the highlight off it. As you can see, we're now starting to piece it together. Becomes an inner range integrity electronic access control alarm system. This is where we start to get some of the information around security PC, software and licensing, that kind of thing. So we'll use the drawings and the specification. This is where these drawings come into play. So looking at these drawings, we can see whether a PC is shown on here. We can see the security equipment. Nothing really shown there. Can't see a PC here. Just double check this next drawing. This is all to do with lighting control, so not relevant to us. So I'll go to the specification. We're just going to have a read through and see what they say. So normally in this general scope of works, it would have a note around whether we require a PC. And that's where we're starting to take some of this other information from. Just read through it. So monitoring and control facility shall be provided with a security management terminal located at the security office. What I'll do is I'll have a quick look at the drawings. The specifications sometimes are quite generic and they'll mention things that are not actually included in the project. So you can see that's a comms room, it's not a security office. It doesn't look to be any desk in there, so we're going to assume that that's not where the security office would be if there is a security office. So there is a manager's office here, and another office here. So what we might do is we might get rid of security PC workstation, and we'll make a note that we're going to exclude it, but we'll include software and licensing to suit the integrity system, and make a note that the client is to provide any PCs or workstation. Main controller is required, so inner range integrity requires a main controller, and I'll show you back on here. Start to reference everything together. So building services, rack security, CCTV access control. So comms room is where all our stuff's going. So we'll have a security alarm panel will go in this room, so we can drop one on here. Integrity doesn't have door controllers on board, so we will require door controllers to make this work. Our standard is 4-door controllers. We would use 4-door controllers 90% of the time, unless there's a reason not to use them. We'll standardise and use 4-door controllers. They're the most efficient when it comes to purchasing and quite efficient when it comes to installation as well. And the way that we would choose 4-door controllers is just based on card readers and locks. So you've got 4 locks, so we at least need 1 4-door controller. We've got 6 card readers, which means we'll likely need a second 4-door controller. And there's your 2 auto doors, so there's your 6 doors, so 2 4-door controllers. So we literally, with doing that, have now built the head end. So we've now got the main security alarm panel, and two four-door controllers, which will now control all the doors and the smarts of the access control system. So that's relevant to the access control and alarm. The security alarm panel in Integrity also has 16 zone inputs on board. So for any zone inputs, a zone input is so PIRs are zone inputs, duress buttons are zone inputs, read switches are zone inputs when they're not on a door that's got access control on it. So if we're monitoring, say this door over here had a read switch on it. I know it doesn't, but we'll just use it as an example. If that had a read switch on it, we would monitor that as a separate zone to a door. But when it's on a door, we monitor it as part of the door. So that can be a little bit confusing, but it'll all come together as we work through the process. So yeah, it can be tricky sometimes, but it'll all make sense over time. So there's no other zone or alarm inputs on this project. So that's all we need from a head-end perspective is a security alarm panel and the two four-door controllers. That's everything that we would include on the takeoff for the access control and alarm. Which means that now that you've already got all of our cameras taken off, we can look at the CCTV. I mentioned the other day too that you had these noted as a door interface under intercom. This is access control, so it needed to be auto door interface from the access control alarm section. So I've changed those over. You also had missed the Rex buttons, so I put the Rex buttons on the drawing. Onto CCTV. So CCTV, this area, I'm going to reference from the site plan just to understand if there's roof over this. And that will help me determine what sort of camera I use for this area. So this is the area here. It's still not clear from this drawing whether this area is under roof. And because of that, I'm going to choose a bullet camera just in case. The price of cameras isn't like it doesn't really like it's not going to impact bullets and domes. There's not a huge difference between them, but it just helps us if we're not sure and it's external and going to be wall mounted, which we're not sure, but it could be wall mounted. We're going to use bullets. So outside, external, and wall mounted, bullet cameras. External, outside, and ceiling mounted, domes. So we'll use a bullet camera for this one. Roll around. Just notice here quickly, there is some Rex buttons, but there's nothing else shown here. So I'm going to delete these. Literally just because there is nothing else shown from an access control perspective. So there's nothing for us to interface with unless there's a note somewhere else, but I can't see a note. It looks like something's been deleted and they've just forgotten to take those two Rex buttons off, so I've deleted those two Rex buttons. The rule around this is if there's no access control shown on the door. So this is access control. So you've got a card reader, there's your auto door interface, brake glass, Rex button. Collectively is what we call access control. So card reader, typically you'll have a card reader. You see card reader, electric strike read switch. So you've got a card reader for the activation of the lock, and then a lock. So card reader and a lock being the auto door. Here, only Rex buttons. There's no real integration or like nothing from a security perspective is shown, so no requirement from us. Down here, once again, this